All right, hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Jamie Meyer. This is the Automotive Advantage with Justin Cesler from Driveline Studios. Justin, how do you feel today? How are things? How's the energy level?
Energy level's high today. No,
Really?
that's a lie. Energy level is medium at best today.
Medium?
But I don't know. There's just a lot going on. But I'm gonna get it together here. So where do we want to start?
All right, I think like the rest of the automotive industry and the automotive aftermarket industry, I am starting to realize it's fourth quarter, which means there's a lot of activity going on. So we've done this before when we did the email version of the Automotive Advantage, where we kind of put out a fourth quarter survival guide, if you're that kind of person, or a prep guide, if you're that side of the glass. So we just want to give you some things to think about. This is for you to, we're going to have a checklist of things you should be thinking about or could be thinking about, just how to make the most of the fourth quarter and how to get ready for what we hope will be a really good 2026. So that's going to be the bulk of what we're talking about over the next hour. We like to start with just a little bit of update on how we're doing, because there's a lot of folks we've said, hey, look, we're going to go on this path down YouTube and other social platforms. We've been doing this for other companies. We're doing it on our own now. So you've got some metrics. Were we going to go for mean comments? Although you had a really good one. Everybody's asking about mic drop and when can I get my mic drop, that's great. I also had a request from the nephews, who is going to be one of the reoccurring characters on here. So the nephews want to know when the merch is coming, the Automotive Advantage merch. So I'll throw it to you. I need metrics, a mic drop update, and comment below with what kind of merch you want. So Justin, go ahead.
Welcome to the Automotive Advantage. Grow your business and get smarter in just 1 hour.
Okay, yeah, let's start with kind of surprising for us, I think, is the Spotify metrics. Obviously, I think, well, I don't know, but most people I would think would be watching this on YouTube, but Spotify's been a really strong player for us. So it's October 8th, so we'll look at the September stats from Spotify. We had 2,582 Spotify plays, which is really strong, I think. Yeah. And 2,446 streams and downloads across Apple Music, whatever, and Spotify. 762 Spotify consumption hours. So people are tuning in and sticking around, which is awesome. To me, this is one of those things where people are like, can you still start a podcast in 2025, Q4 of 2025? Like, yes, 2,582 plays in a month. Not a huge number. It's not 2 million. It's not 20 million. But it's 2,582 plays on Spotify. People driving around in their car or listening to us in the office. So that's huge. Thank you to everyone who's done that. Discovery on Spotify, 11,729 impressions. And we added 84 new followers to the Spotify channel. So we're up to, where are we at here on total audience? Yeah, almost 100 subscribers now, which is super cool.
Thank you. Cool.
Yeah, and then people are commenting on Spotify, which I didn't even really know you could do. So that's cool. 3 comments. We have responded to all of you, so thank you. And 2 ratings. Shameless plug here. If you're listening to this and you want to give us 5 stars on Spotify or put some comments in there, that would help us grow for sure. Top episode of the month, kind of no surprise, David Freiberger. But a lot of the Freiberger success on YouTube came from, he has a big YouTube channel, 1,700 plays on Spotify over the month, which is great. So that's really cool. And then on YouTube, definitely a bigger audience for us there. So 51,293 views on YouTube in September. So over 50,000 views, which is awesome. 14,400 hours of watch time. It's a long time to be watching us. And we added 731 subscribers. So we have 964 subscribers on YouTube now, which is awesome. Freiberger was number 1 in this period, but ETA coming in strong, 2,200 views since it launched last week, which is awesome, with an average view duration of over 10 minutes, which is great. Brian Loans, this is so cool about the analytics. Brian Loans, not a huge view count yet, 988, but the average view time on the Loans video is 23 minutes and 52 seconds. So people who love Brian Loans, love Brian Loans. So that's been great. The ones where it's just you and I talking, like now, aren't as good as the ones with guests. So we're going to have to do a better job of entertaining people. But I still think that's 51,000 plus 25, so like almost 55,000 views in the last month. And we've talked about this before, but it's one thing to think about 55,000 views. It's another thing to realize that those are real people in our industry that are talking to us. And it's been really cool for you and I to get feedback from people that are like, oh, I've listened, it helped me with this. So maybe give me your holistic overview on all those numbers, and then, even though it's only 50,000 views, how impactful that has been.
Well, I think it's great, and thank you for everybody that's listening, and thanks for all the guests that have come on. They've given us a great shot in the arm for content. We're content heavy, folks. This is not going to be super entertaining, so we're not going to do crazy stuff with cars. We're here to help you grow your business. So that's the punchline. And also for us, we've talked about this, but probably haven't admitted it to the crowd, but it's real serious that we do a good job for people that are watching this. We want to make sure we bring a ton of value in here. And the way we want this to work is we want us to be that hour where you work on your business, where we're going to bring in topics that help you and give you a chance to grow your business, or you personally. We did tape the interview with Brian Lounsbury from Midway Plus, and that was spectacular. He's going to give us the weekly index on where the industry is. Incredible value. We greatly appreciate that. I'll let you comment on some other things, the merch, other comments, things like that. But Brian sets up our Q4 strategy here, because things have not been good for the industry or been flat. That's probably if you're winning, but there are a few segments that are up. We're going to talk about that. So I'll chuck it back to you, wrap up our intro, and then we're going to dive into Q4.
All right, so we're way too early for merch. We're not going to get into that. If anyone wants to bootleg some merch, feel free. We'll get to that eventually, I think. And then mean comments, I'm going to have to aggregate a bunch of mean comments, and we could do maybe a subsection on that, which would be fun. There's been a lot. Yeah, there's been a lot. There's definitely been a lot. But I think that's like a great lesson too, right? We're talking about what we're learning from all of this, and like, you're going to have haters no matter what you do. It's such a good reason to not start, but just like Loans said, it's like, just get out of your way and go for it. That's going to happen anyway. We've had a lot of people, oh, I didn't even tell you about this. Let me fire this laptop back up. This is big news. I was saving it for today. I forgot about it. No, I'm panicked. Everybody's watching. I gotta move fast. We received an email last night. Where is it? Shout out to Brandon. Oh. Brandon said, I've been listening to the Automotive Advantage nonstop since I found it. I've learned a wealth of knowledge about the industry so far. Brandon is looking for internships to gain experience before he graduates next spring. So he's asking for advice.
He's at college.
Yep.
Oh, Brandon, cool, man.
Yep. Asking for advice on like what's the best way to get an internship, to break in. And he's a strategic communication major. So a lot of writing, PR, video production, and right now working with a team to execute a full campaign. So wow. You're a network genius. What advice do we have for Brandon? He also said maybe you can come work here. I don't think we're there yet, although we could maybe do something with this, Brandon. But Jamie, give me your advice for someone like Brandon who's in college, who wants to learn how to network in this industry.
No, this is super exciting because, one of the nephews, Connor's done a great job for me at Cars Illustrated. He just had an interview this week at a tint shop in Rochester, New York. If you guys don't hire Connor, you're not paying attention. But I don't know Brandon, but skill set wise, if you can write and communicate, and I'm just going to assume anybody that's in their 20s is effective on social media, start sending your resume around, start sending DMs like this, start sending emails, like you will find work in this industry really fast. Number one, you're going to be affordable. So I know there's a lot of established companies that'll be like, ooh, could you side hustle this for a couple grand a month and we'll see how it goes? And you can go far right now with that kind of an attitude. So good for this kid. Let's get him around. Where's he out of? Does it say where he's from?
Yeah, he's in Columbia, Missouri. So if anyone's around there and is like, man, I could use someone with this skill set, hit us up. We'll forward over his resume, which is cool. And I do want to I know that sounds stupid, but I have a friend who owns a very successful business here in Detroit. He is around the coolest cars of all time. He's recently posted on Instagram looking for a photographer. He had 65 people DM him. This is a dream role. I would love to do it. I can't believe this even exists. Oh my God, this is so amazing. He responded to every single one of those people and said, shoot me an email, put his email in there with your portfolio, and we'd love to talk. He received 0 emails, 0. And he's like, I'm not gonna hire someone if they can't do the first step, which was to email me. Yeah. So shout out to Brandon. He didn't DM us. He didn't leave a YouTube comment. He didn't do anything like that. He sent an email. He found our email address, which I don't even know where it is, and sent an email, gave us his info, attached a really nice looking resume, was asking for help, which people are going to want to help people that are asking for help. So this is just a cool lesson in what a view is, right? One view is Brandon. One view is someone else. And you get 55,000 of them. It's easy to be like that. Again, that's not 500, but everyone is one, right? And 2, this is the way to do it. If you can't email someone, if you can't call someone, if you can't meet someone face to face, you're not going to work in this industry. And everyone thinks they can just do it through DMs. It's wild to me. So yeah, that's my Brandon story for the day.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's help that kid. I bet he's got a job in a week when this will drop tomorrow, and I bet the kid gets hooked up. Awesome. Good luck. Keep us posted. All right, let's dive into Q4 because that's what everybody tuned in for. Look, I called this a prep guide first, but I think for some folks it's going to be a survival guide. We want to go over the trends, kind of a little bit of a strategy on how to think through your Q4 budget. I want to do a little bit about advertising, maybe kind of sort some things out there. Social media plan, new product that drives this industry. I want to talk about that a little bit. I've got this weird vibe about M&A right now in this industry. PE's been really quiet, but I think there's some owners that are stepping up and they're going to go get loans and they're going to buy up some of these companies, buy them back. So that's interesting. I think we got to talk about people, the HR side. I think there's a lot of folks that are really, having a tough year personally. It's just been a rough season. And then we're going to do within this kind of a trade show survival guide as we go into trade show season. So I want to start with trends, Justin. I want to start with stuff that's really good, right? I think there have been some really surprising, successful events. I look at what Mike Galimi's doing over there with the Hot Rod brand. We had Woodward here. We've been pumping that up all year. We keep talking about, you'll talk about barbell economy, which means the people that have money, thankfully, are still spending a lot of money. I think you need to move in that direction, right? Like, offer something to your VIPs. Reach out to the people who have built a car with you in the last 5 years. Think about if you have money and you're looking for experiences, how does your company reach out to that segment of the industry? I think as a metric, watch where our industry's attention is right now. The example I have is Fox Factory just announced the street version of the Ram truck in the last 48 hours. That thing went crazy. It was all over every media channel. So we have been talking about trucks, how hot trucks are for the last 5 years. Pay attention to the truck market. You may not be there right now, but I'm telling you, it's smoking hot. And then just kind of a cliche, but social ain't going away. So it's bigger than ever. We're going to talk about some AI stuff that's just insane here at the tail end of this if you hang with us. But events, watch those high income customers, pay attention to your social media, and just watch where the attention is. Those are the trends for me going into 26. Take it from there.
Events are definitely on mine too. I think the more AI slop and just the disaster that is the incoming internet revolution here, like you got to be at events. You got to talk to people face to face. More and more people are going to be like, dude, my Instagram feed is just total chaos at this point. I just want to go talk to someone and ask them about XYZ. So I think for me, events are definitely at the top there. I had down just a lot of the same old. We were talking about the new iPhone. We've been talking about why aren't people buying new XYZ? And it's like, because there's a lot of ABC out there that's still really good. And there hasn't been a lot of breakthroughs. I know as an industry, the last big one we had was EVs, really. And now it's kind of like, okay, that's gone. And now where is everyone at? I feel like the street truck thing, for sure. But what can you do to make something stand out, even as an offering, even as a brand? You know, I think a lot of brands have not been maintaining their community. I feel like a lot of brands have not been standing apart from everyone else. Everything kind of homogenized in the middle, and you just bought parts from the guy you knew and then whatever. But we've been hearing from people listening to this pod that are like, man, my brand used to be super hot and now it's not. And sales are down and I don't know what to do. So like, I just think find a way to stand out more. There's a lot of noise and there's a lot of sameness going on would be one for me. And then these are trends for 26, but I think just surviving 25 is going to be a trend for a lot of people. If you're looking at your books going like, man, where'd the money go? Like, it's not like we've lost a lot of customers, but like there's just not a lot left at the end of the day and things are getting tight. I think a lot of people are going to be in survival mode here, just trying to get through the year. So where can you be smart? Where can you save money? You know, where can you really see high impact things? But for 26, I think more events, more branding, more standing out, more just going against the grain and trying to be different. Our next note here is be 20% daring in 2026, right? So what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I wrote this down just as kind of a philosophy. I don't know if 20% is the right number, but just here's what I think is going to happen. Folks are going to look at their 26 budget. Some might be bigger. I just don't feel like that's going to be the trend, but save something in there to try a marketing play, a sponsored race team, an event that you've never been to before, a social channel you've never tried, a community that you've never reached out to, a product line for a vehicle platform you've never done before. Like, you're going to have to be daring. You're going to have to cross that line that you may never have had to because things have been good for so long. And I think the context, right, is automotive aftermarket has been a 5 to 10% growth since 1975. We hit COVID. There's 2 months of concern, and then it just takes off like a rocket ship until the end of 23. Now we're back down to those pre-COVID numbers or less. So if you're flat right now, and Brian Lounsbury is going to go into great detail, so hang on till next week, but or give Brian a call. All right, let's just see where the heck you're measuring up. But I think folks are going to be put in a position where you got to try stuff. You got to be a little bit daring, or I don't want to say you're not going to make it, but you're going to really set yourself up to have a tough 26. There's bright spots out there. This is not a negative podcast. This is us trying to help people that are flat get back to 5 or 10%. People that are up 10%, we want to get you to 25. So that's what I mean when I think daring. But you're the creative guy here. What would you try in 26 for the auto industry, for the automotive aftermarket, for the racing industry? What do I try that might be a little bit daring in 26?
I think you got to dig into your brand's personality and really build something that is different now. I think everyone has begrudgingly like, okay, I know I need to be on Facebook. I know I need to be on Instagram. I'm posting shop updates. I'm doing the reels, whatever. We talked to Brian last week and he just said, man, marketing. Like, these companies are not spending money on marketing. And if you know no one's spending money on marketing, now's the time to market. I know it's hard to do because the money's tight, but if no one's spending money on marketing right now, and you do, you're going to have much bigger returns than when everybody was spending money on marketing, right? So I'm looking for the next big breakout brands to be built in 26 because they take risks, they go out, they go to events, they build the community, they kind of just push more there. I still think email, or not even email, but just how can you communicate with your customers and fans more? You know, is it, I don't know, is it WebExes with your customers? Is it a newsletter that you write that's really important to everybody? Like something to make me feel like, okay, this is different than what everyone else is doing. That's the daring that I would do now. And I wouldn't be afraid to go heavier and heavier into the marketing, especially with the barbell thing. The people with the money are going to be harder and harder to find. And, you know, you really have to show up where they are if you want to go after that. So my dare for everybody in 26 is like, let's build crazy, really personalized brands that really stand out. Because if you're just playing a margin e-com game, I mean, tough for sure. And, you know, we'll learn more about that in Brian's pod coming up.
Good, really good. And I think this might be where our community, I think we're big enough where we could ask them, hey, if you've got something you're going to do different, and I know it's tough because people don't want to give all their secrets away, but maybe ask, hey, what do you guys think if I do this? What if a company were to do this? I'd love to hear what are on people's minds, and we send us a DM if you want us to give you some feedback on what that's feeling like. But I think that's just good advice. I don't think the time is to get locked down into what has always worked if it's not working. And it's going to be tough for people to just stop for a moment and think about it and pull themselves out of their business for a couple hours and just say, okay, what is going on right now? Where am I winning? Where do I need to work? I think it could really pay off in 26.
So that would be a dare that I would put out to people, especially here in Q4, is like spend a day, spend 2 days, block them out, go somewhere else, rent a meeting space, go somewhere with your team, and just be like, who are we? What are we doing? What makes us different? What was the magic that worked before? And how do we get back to that? Like, there's going to be that week after SEMA where no one's doing anything. There's going to be the time after PRI until January 31st where not a lot's going on. Spend 2 days, maybe do them on the back of one of those events. Like, hey guys, we're going to stay, we're going to go to Topgolf, we're going to spend 2 days in the hotel, and we're really going to try to reimagine this. We've heard a lot from people that they don't have time to zoom out. Like, make that time, schedule that time with your team. I just had a meeting with my team, like, hey, we got to zoom out a little bit and just see what's going on for 26. Like, now is the perfect time to do that. And that you will come out of that with some like, okay, we got to do it, and then implement it. That's the hardest part. Coming up with the ideas is easy, but it's like, then what's your strategy going into next year? So that would be another dare I have for people.
I think that's good. I think even if you had like 10 great ideas on what you can do different, but you get it down to 1 or 2 that's actionable. But we've tried to stress that you gotta try something. Let's talk about budgeting. I think if you're in corporate America, your budget's already had a couple rounds at it. If you're an independent operator, you're like, I probably should start thinking about budgeting for 26. I think this is just a reminder. We're just putting it out there, like, think about it. I think you already know what we're going to say, like, spend some money on marketing. Brian's going to go super hard into the space where traditionally you would rely on your wholesale distributors to help market your products. He's going to tell you why you as a manufacturer have really got to step on it from a communications marketing standpoint. So save a little money there. And then the innovation side of it, don't forget about saving some money for the next round of products. We lived as an industry through 2020 and 2023 without much innovation. We saw that, and now we're kind of paying the price. So I think new products are always going to win, always going to move the needle as a brand. What are you doing from a budgeting standpoint for 26? Are you're going to be up 10% next year, or what's your plan?
Well, there's the imagined budget, and then there's what comes in January, right? So Yeah, one, if you are an independent agency or content creator, like the money, all of 26's money is going to be earmarked now. So don't wait till 26 to be like, hey, I was thinking it'd be cool if we did XYZ. It's like they already spent that money. So SEMA is really your last shot at any unearmarked funds. So if you're thinking about going to SEMA or PRI, or you better go in there with a plan. And you're going to be fighting for the last little bit. Most of that money, especially in the corporate world, they're like, okay, we're doing these events next year, we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. We have like this little slush fund available. They can still move things around for good ideas, but I think you got to get in. Q4 is the time to do it. Q3 really would be the best time. But otherwise, I don't see budgets really going up, but I do see them being allocated a little bit differently. Maybe some of the old school spend is freeing up a little bit. And like for everybody who's not in television, TV took up a huge amount of budget from big brands. And as TV tapers off, that means a big amount of budget is available for everything else. So like if they cancel one ad buy, they've got 5 years worth of content creation budget, So keep an eye on where they're moving around, I think is important. And then we know that brand-owned content is going to continue to be a big deal. So creating that content, helping them create that content, I think is a big one.
I'm gonna ask you about our next line item, which is an overall advertising strategy for 2026. You just touched on it, but hit me with define paid media versus earned media, and then I think explain why neither one of them are free. Although some people would call earned media free. We know that's not true, but paid versus earned.
Yeah, so paid media is I'm paying someone to push this media out to the people I want them to see it. So paid media, for example, would be I have a video, I'm using Meta, and I'm going to pay them $500, and they're going to show this to 10,000 people. That's paid media. Or I'm going to buy an ad in this magazine, and they're going to distribute it to all these people. That's paid. That was the traditional way to do advertising. And then earned media is I make content, I put it on channels for free, and then people come and view that content, see that content. It can be more than that. There's a lot of nuanced things in there. Let me just stop there. Do you agree with my definitions, or are there better ways to talk about these things?
I think you talked about TV with paid media and Meta as social, but I'd also say the print folks would fall into that, right? And just the traditional print ad, that might be the better model for people to think of. The earned side, when you and I started working together 15 years ago, there was no definition for putting out content, but I still had to hire an agency. I still needed you to come up with the strategy, and we had to have photographers, and we had to build cars to get that content out there. So if you're paying attention at home, both of those sound really expensive, right?
Yeah, and they're definitely continuing to blur. I think there was a point in time, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, where all the content people were like, oh, paid's done, dude. No one's gonna need paid. You're just gonna have your own channels. You don't need to rely on anyone to spread your message. You're gonna be bigger on Instagram than the people that would even do that for you, and we don't need to do that anymore. And like, I don't know how your Instagram looks now, but like every third story is 2 or 3 ad units now. And there weren't ad units before. And it's harder and harder to get organic reach every day than it was the day before. So the golden era of just being an earned is kind of over, I think. And being smarter on paid is definitely coming back. The people that were really good at paid this whole time are probably in a really good spot, although they may not have grown those big organic brands. So I think everyone's going to have to readjust here a little bit. And some combination of the two is really where you want to end up. And if you want to grow on the internet, it's becoming much more pay. I don't know if that's true. It's becoming much more important to blend the two wisely. You can't be solely pay with no cool organic content, and you can't really be solely organic if you want to start moving people to your website or getting them to do things. So I I think the blend is tricky, and when you think of a campaign, it shouldn't be like, oh, this is paid, I'm going to go to this agency, or this is organic, I'm going to go to this agency. It should be like, what's the whole plan, and then everyone has to work together. And if you don't have any agencies, if I'm going to make content, what is my budget to make the content and to post it? And then what is my budget to pay to get some additional eyeballs on this thing that are targeted? And you should be considering all of those costs at the same time.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to the Fox factory. The Brian McClanahan, right, facilitated the launch of this Ram Street truck. They did content that cost him a bunch of money to put a really high-end professional video together. They launch it out on their channels, but they also seed a press release to all the media, and it catches fire. So I think for our listeners, go back and listen to the Justin Keith interview for a really good outline of how you can do your own organic earned media. He's obviously mastered this, has some friends in the industry. If you need someone to help you, go listen to the Mike Galimi interview, go listen to the David Freiberger interview on how a big presence can lift your company right now. And somewhere in between those two is the right mix for everybody. Is that fair?
For sure. Yeah, or go find someone in your town that does either one of these things and start to build a team around it. Now, there's a lot of bad advice out there and a lot of people that will just make up metrics and make you feel good about yourself, so be very careful. But the blend of make your own content, get people involved that are going to spread it further than you could, and then pay to spread it even a little bit further, that's kind of where you need to be today.
Good, yeah. I mean, the one here we have, which follows nicely, is to make a social media plan. And we're assuming folks already have a presence, they already have channels. We know that's not always true with a lot of our shop owner friends, but man, I liked your last point. Like, if you had a kid like Brandon that, or Connor, my nephew, that was in your neighborhood that could swing by a couple times a week and just grab that cool idling video of the Corvette that you just swapped the camshaft in, it can be magic, man. It can be magic. It can change the entire trajectory of your 2026. So do you want to dive in this? You do this every day. I have an idea of what I want from a social plan. We've had multiple meetings with one of our clients about social strategy. Give me tips if I'm starting from zero right now, or if I've only dabbled and I've never been serious about social media for my company. What do you start with if you want to get serious where all the attention is? We know all the attention is on these social platforms. Where do I start, man?
Well, it sucks because it's harder now than it was a week ago. And it's harder now than it was 3 months ago because I guess let me start at the beginning. When Instagram and Facebook and YouTube started, the beautiful people, the rich people, the big megacorps weren't there yet. So the platform was much more of an even playing field. It was just you and me and and we were just making down and dirty content, and that worked pretty well. And if you were authentic and you did it, that worked. Then 10 years ago, the celebrities started to show up and the gap started to widen between like what you and I can do and what Conan O'Brien can do. His podcast is just going to be bigger than our podcast, and the barbell starts to form, right? And then the YouTubers and the influencers who did start to cross that gap, they got huge budgets, and now they were able to make crazier and crazier social media content that you couldn't really compete with. That's kind of where we are right now, is the biggest YouTubers can do the craziest things, big money, and you don't have that money, or you can't go buy a Ferrari and crush it just for the views. So like, that's harder. Now, as of literally right now, the AI video gen is coming fast. And now people that don't have big budgets but have the imagination can go make this content, and now you have to compete with that. So if you're scrolling on Instagram Reels now, it's like fantastical AI stuff, some political stuff you don't really want to engage with, and then a YouTuber doing something insane, and then it's like, how are you and I going to stand out there, right? The only thing you can do is provide value by either entertaining someone or educating someone. Our current thing is pretty boring. It's like our head and a guest talking on Instagram Reels, but they're doing great. You know, we're getting 17,000 views, 20,000 views, and like that's content that anyone can make, especially if you're talking about a thing that people want to hear about and you're an expert in. So I would focus there. Making these big ethereal brand campaigns, trying to make like cool car videos that Top Gear would have made 15 years ago, like that's just going to be really, really hard to stand out. So what value can you provide to your audience? That would be my entire social strategy. And whatever that value is, if you're an engine builder, talk about building engines. If you're building 4th gen Camaros, talk about building 4th gen Camaros. Like be very authentic there, and then do all the things you need to do. Be consistent, post a lot, interact with the community, you know, all that stuff. But the dreams of like, oh, I'm going to make a brand and I'm going to do these big brand campaigns that are just beautiful art pieces and that'll get me noticed. It's like there's so much scrolly, there's so much crazy stuff in the feed now that's really hard to start with. So to me, boil it all back down, just like we were talking about up top. Who are you? What is your brand? What do you mean to people? And then how can you provide education mainly? Or if you just happen to be hilarious, maybe, you know, you can entertain them. But for a lot of people, it's just like, where can I provide value? What can I do here? Like, people need to start knowing that I'm an expert in this space. So that would be, I mean, we could talk for 50 hours about this, but that would be kind of my start. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. I think, again, do something. You're probably working on something really cool right now, and it's just your daily thing. As you were describing some of the content, I'm thinking about, man, we've just seen some wildly popular channels in our space that are just walking through a shop and just updating you on customer builds. And it's magic. It's worked great for a bunch of folks we know. So, get out there, do it, make a plan. I do like the idea of a designated staff person, because for an owner to worry about social on top of running a business and payroll and everything else they got going on, it can be a little much. But although we work with some really big companies where the owner does all the social, all of it, all the DMs and everything. So you can do it. It's just a matter of, the skill set and how hard you want to work.
The other advantage to having a person who only does this is that they can stay on top of the trends. And the trends now are moving at super speed. So if your plan is just like, I'm just going to make content when I can, okay, fine, I'm listening. I'm going to make content every day at 10 a.m. That's going to be my slot. It's like, okay, but what's going on out there? That's a whole nother thing. And if the person you've hired in your shop is just standing around scrolling on Instagram all day, that's great, because they're keeping up with what's going on. I mean, I follow a bunch of NFL teams, but the Lions are one of them for sure. They're on top of like the memes and all the fun stuff now, and they're cranking out content at super speed, but they're staying relevant to like what's going on in the conversation. That's important, because the way the algorithm works is if I watch one person do something and then the next person does the same thing and then the next person, Instagram's like, cool, give me all of the content where people are doing that same thing. This is what this person wants to see. If I'm just making my own content in a vacuum, it's going to be really hard for Instagram to scoop me up into that. So I think trend watching on the internet is a full-time job, for sure.
I want to move to something else that really moves the automotive industry, and that's new product, right? So think about how excited we get when a new car comes out, when a new supercharger comes out, when a new wheel comes out, when a new race series is announced. New product runs the automotive industry, bar none. So remember in your 26 plan about new product that you have in development, and build a plan around how you're going to launch that product. And if you take the time and look at what your 26 calendar looks like and you go, I forgot, what have my engineers been doing, or what's the new product plan, and it's not there, It's okay. Don't freak out. It's fourth quarter. You still have time to push here. New product is critical, though. I've watched it at every company I've worked with, even what you just outlined as a marketing agency, to know what the hot new trends are in marketing. That is a new product. That's a new service. That's critical that you're on top of this stuff. So you and I have talked about running one of these just on new product development. I think we have to get there in fourth quarter to help folks set up for 26. But I've launched dozens of new products in the automotive industry, including new vehicles. You have been there on multiple new product launches. You yourself have launched a new company within the Driveline Studios empire. You know the excitement. It's also the workload, right? Like, oh my God, you gotta make sure it works, and you gotta bring it to market. You gotta launch it. And you gotta tell people about it. Get it to your partners. Get it to your media folks. New product is gonna win the day in 26. You gotta have something new that you're hyped about, and make sure you bring it to market with authenticity and authority. So, what new products have you got coming in 26 for you, buddy?
Well, before I forget what I was going to say, one of the bummers about this industry right now is that most of the car platforms are old now. Like 6th gen Camaro, been around. Challenger, been around. Like a lot of the cars have not, Mustang, been around. Like a lot of cars have not been refreshed to where it's like, oh, there's an all new thing and now everyone can pile on with all new stuff. So it's hard if you're a company that's like, yeah, dude, we made a supercharger for the Hellcat. It's still the same, it's still the same Jeep, it's still the same Bronco. Like I think we were spoiled when the OEs were going through vehicle platforms much faster than they are now.
So that's a great point, but remember, Galimi came on here and said 80s and 90s cars are on fire. And so this is a trend within this massive industry, right? If you're an aftermarket company, those vehicles that are 30, 40 years old may now just be affordable. And that's your new product. That's your new community. That's the new platform that you didn't develop parts for, but now you can swoop in, effectively put parts out, and go to market. So back to the trends comment, that's why this is so important to watch, be daring, look at these other platforms. Some of these older vehicles had million unit runs in a production year. You only need 1% of that to change the whole outlook of your next 12 months. So yes, the new car stuff is kind of weird right now. Don't forget about trucks. But Dodge is coming back with new Hemis. So there's always something that's going to be the next big thing. That's where I think products are going to win the day.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm hearing more and more about like, I want to resto mod my. It's not a car you would rest. It's not a 69 Camaro. You know what I mean? Mercedes. Yeah, I was literally just having a conversation about that the other day. And so, yeah, it's like, what can you look at and be like, oh, there's a big market here that's been untapped for quite a while. Even if it's just like, what's a funny thing for me is the head unit thing. Like car audio used to be the biggest thing in the world, and then it kind of went away. But now, like, people are like, I do want Bluetooth in these things. I do want some modern amenities in these things that don't look like I just stuck an iPad to the dash. So like, yeah, I think going in your garage and being like, what can I make for a Fox body that no one makes? And that could spark a whole new thing. So I think that's on the what can you make on the product side. And then on the marketing of the product side, I think what I would reiterate to everybody is you only get one chance to launch a new product. People's attention span is about 15 seconds long. So I see a lot of people put out a teaser, don't really have a plan to launch immediately, or something gets delayed, and then the internet just makes up what it thinks the thing is, and then that's the thing. You never get to go back and be like, no, that's not it. It wasn't that. We had an example. I won't name names, but they were in town. They had a press car. They were errantly telling everybody the MSRP was some wild number. And then that spread through our little community very quick. Oh my God, I can't believe that car costs X. It's so hard to reverse that, right? So if you're going to launch a new product, like figure out what the one sentence is about that product that everyone needs to know. This is where the best PR teams in the world are the best, right? They can get that exact verbiage into everyone's brain. But like when you launch that product, do not just like teaser photo on Instagram, no details, couple weeks later start shipping some of them, finally update your website and then wonder what happened. Like you have one chance to get the word out. I think this new Ram street truck, good example. Like I saw the thing, I think it actually leaked. I saw the leak, but they were screenshots from the website, so it already had all the details in it. So it's like, it leaked, oh cool, this looks cool. Went on their website, had all the information I wanted. I was not wondering what this thing is or how do I buy it. So, I mean, you've done a lot of launches. Some of them have leaks, some of them have had websites go up too early, but like, tell me how important it is to get it right on day one, because there is no day two.
Yeah, and we're coming to that season. We're going to talk about all of our trade shows coming up here, and yeah, there's a lot on that checklist. That's why you need really good people on your team. You got to have a good website. You got to drop it on social. You got to talk to your media folks. Don't forget your wholesale distributors, whatever your distribution network looks like. They've got to have all the facts because they're going to be answering the phone. All your favorite shops that are going to carry it. What's that checklist? What's that communications list look like? And get it right. No, that's a great point. I think new product's going to be more important than ever in the next 12 to 18 months. If that's true, then you've got to take full advantage of the very short window of time you have when that thing hits. So really, really good. I want to go to the next one, which is kind of an interesting trend. We're going to get somebody on here that can define what private equity is and what private equity has been doing and where have they gone and the companies that are owned by private equity and which ones are working and why. But there's this trend where independent owners are now buying up some of these companies and even some of the properties from private equity. There's a real vocal person out there, and we love him. There's also folks that are contacting us saying, hey, I'm thinking about expanding my empire. How would I go about that? And it's these folks that are in their 30s to 50s that still have another 20 to 40 years in this industry, and they're thinking about being the next big group of companies. So I'm real interested to get out into some of the shows that are coming up to hear what's going on and what's on everybody's mind. But something to look for 26, I think you will see some companies change hands, and I think there'll be surprising buyers that go with it. But you get any of this?
I try to stay as far away from the PE world as possible, I think. But I have yet to see someone do this super successfully, but I feel like it is going to happen. The initial PE rush, I think, was just a free-for-all and probably great for the people that got out on top, but pretty bad for the industry as a whole, I would imagine. But now that people have had more time, companies have had more time, PE firms have had more time, it does feel like, okay, there might be a second wave here where some smart things really start to happen. So that'll be interesting. I do think some smart consolidation could be interesting, but I also think some, capital into some things that have just been stagnant for a while could also really be helpful. So yeah, it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, get ready. We'll be updating this audience as soon as we hear, trends, or like I said, we'll get someone on here that wants to talk about where we're going. We get a little bit of it from Brian Lounsbury, so that'll kind of tease it. We're getting toward the end of how to make the most of fourth quarter. This is typically a time when the teams get together, right? You got the holidays coming up. You got a moment to take care of your team. It's also a chance for companies to make moves. There are a lot of folks that have left positions in 25. I've also got a lot of companies coming to me going, hey, can you find us technicians are super hot right now. Tuners are super hot right now. Really good marketing and sales guys and gals are always going to have a home in this industry. So watch for companies to make moves. And if you're an owner, think about what holes in the lineup that you have. What could be better on your team? Where could you go up the ladder, 5X your company? And I think it'll often come back to the right people and the right team. in kind of the same tone, it's a really good chance to check in on the health of your team. And I think it's really good time, especially as we end 25. Make sure you have that holiday party. Make sure you go out for the Christmas bowling outing or whatever your team does. I think it's more important than ever for owners to be present and to really say thank you for, the numbers might not jump off the page for how some of these companies have performed in 25, but I'll promise you the teams have given it everything they've had. And I'll add to that, I think I've heard the word I'm exhausted, or the word exhausted more than I ever have in my life. I think people are just burned out and really in trouble personally right now. That sounds like a bummer, but I think it's a chance for everybody to come together, reflect on 25, make the best of it in the fourth quarter, and get ready for 26. So, people.
Yeah, exhausted is a good word. I think people are just like, this is unsustainable to just keep grinding like this. So yeah, where can you find opportunities to reward people and build something? I mean, the whole, this business is a family type of thing. You don't have to do that, but like people are working really hard. And even if you're flat or even if you're down a little, that doesn't mean they haven't been working super hard. So I do think that's important. On the hiring side, one of my major frustrations right now is that everybody who is hiring says there's no one out there, and everyone who's out there is like, I can't get an interview to save my life. So something in the hiring process is completely broken. You told me a story the other day. Someone applied for a job, they got an interview. The person in there told them 1,700 people had applied for that job or something like that. So how did they even stand out is crazy, but the fact that 1,700 people were applying for a job means 1,690 of them never even hear back, don't know what to do, or just mass applying everywhere else. So like, if you're an owner, I think you have to be more involved in the hiring process than you've ever been before, because something is not lining up here. I know a lot of people that are super smart looking for work say they can't get an interview, and I know a lot of people who want workers and they can't find anybody. So I don't know what the mismatch is, but someone's got to sort it out, and it's probably meeting people face to face or taking the time to respond to emails or something like that. But it does also, on the bright side, feels like it's easier to find good people and incentivize them to come over to you from where they are right now, because like you said, a lot of people are just exhausted and like, oh, I'll take any kind of change, really. That would be fun, a challenge or something like that. So I think that will be interesting, especially at the trade shows this year, to see if people are like, hey, you got anything going on I'm thinking about? I think there will be a lot of that movement coming up. But yeah, also, I know it's the end of the year, but people should be doing quarterly team building things and really showing, and it doesn't have to be like fun team building things. It can just be like, team, how are we doing? What are we doing? What do you guys want to work on? I think that kind of stuff will be more and more important going forward.
I think the best team building, team outing activity I ever had was with the AC Delco team and going golfing with Cliff Cohen. Just throw that out there. That was an amazing day.
All right, trade show survival guide. We've got Barrett, SEMA, PRI, HPX. HPX seems far away, but it'll be here in about 10 minutes. SEMA's already happened, basically, is what it feels like. But give me your trade show survival guide top tips.
Yeah, I'll say they're all good shows for everybody, and you'll sort them out as you have experience at the different trade shows. I think part of the reason we're talking about this is, holy cow, SEMA's 3 weeks away, Barrett's next week, like it's already hitting. The best shows I've ever had started early, plan it early. We've learned over the years, you got to get your news out early if you're going to launch new products, because there's such a wave of information, noise, industry churn. If you're a little fuel system company or a little chassis company and you think you're going to drop news on the first day of any of these events, you will probably get some success, but it'll be hard to stand out in a real big crowd. So start early. Have a great plan, move in, move out can be a drag for a lot of companies, so make sure you got enough staffing to help there. Think about your display early. You should have looked at it already, but think about being really open. There's a lot of psychology to getting people to walk in and engage with you. I think the biggest deals are those side meetings. So if you're a manufacturer and you're looking for a distributor, reach out beforehand and try to set something up. If you're an ad agency and you're trying to get a big ad buy from a manufacturer, reach out early and try to get that meeting set up. That way you can be prepared for it. Individuals that just stop in and want to connect with the marketing team on the day of one of these events, it's really tough to be impactful. Sorry, Justin. I wrote down dinners. Just think about some of those casual events that you connect with industry folks. We've said one of the concerns about the traditional show is you're seeing the same people year over year, and it's kind of a check-in. Maybe back to our, try to be a little bit daring. Reach out to somebody that's got something hot going. Say, hey, I saw the release of your new product. Could I come by and talk to you about that? Find a way to expand your network. That's super important. The last thing is this face-to-face skill set, which I think it went away for folks during COVID and has come back to some degree for most of us. But for the younger generation, we've got at least one dedicated listener who reaches out to me after every one of these and says something about his daughter and how they're trying to encourage her to go out and reach out to people in person. And she's struggling to do that. So watch some YouTube videos, get a book, ask the best salesperson hey, how do I walk up and approach people and just introduce myself? And do I just talk about the weather, or how do I connect with this person on a one-to-one basis? And then how do I ask for something? We probably should bring a coach in sometime and go through that, but think about those personal skills before you show up and you're too embarrassed to talk to anybody. And that may sound ridiculous to people that listen to this. It's a real phobia or a real holdup for people, and especially the younger generations. So those are my hot tips. Take it away.
I mean, I still do that. Like, I'll go up to a booth and be like, oh, I really need to talk to, and then I'll try to find any excuse, like, oh, they look busy, or oh, I'm thirsty, or oh, I was supposed to meet someone over in the other hall, or whatever like that. So like, yeah, you got to commit and like, hey, I really want to talk to this person. I would write down like, this show will be successful if I write down the 5 people, because if you don't talk to any of them and you go home, you're gonna be like, oh, that was a waste of time. Like, yeah, of course it was. But if you can commit kind of up front, I think that's super helpful. I've gone and been like, oh, I got to talk to XYZ. And I was like, oh, they look, well, I don't know. Is that him? And then I just leave. Terrible. So don't do that. I wrote down, I go to shows to see things that I already know about. Meaning this obsession with waiting until the show opens to launch your new product is so counterintuitive to me. I'd much rather read about it tomorrow and be like, oh, they're launching the new X. I can't wait to see it. Let me go on the show app. Let me put in their booth, right? And then I'm gonna go there because I am already kind of interested. It gives me time to formulate like, what kind of questions am I gonna have about this thing? I'll give a practical example of this. We have the mic drop. We were looking for a microphone that could mount to the mic drop that had a higher decibel rating because cars are super loud. So it was so much better for me to be like, okay, what's a big trade show here that would have this stuff? Oh, NAB is one. Okay, I want to go to NAB. I don't know anyone in the national broadcast community. I don't know any of these brands at all. So I'm going on their websites. I'm like, okay, I've heard of Sennheiser. I've heard of DJI. I've heard of Rode. Oh, there's a little thing where I can request time with them. Okay, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to look on their website and be like, hey, this is the one I found. Is this the right one? Instead of just I'm not going to show up at the show and be like, oh, I hope I'm walking by a press conference where they unveil a super high decibel microphone that attaches to the back. That's absurd, right? So like, I think about it from the customer's journey. The customer who wants to know about your widget, probably need some time to even formulate that they want to know about it. So I wouldn't wait until that day. If you're an OE and you have the world's eyes on you and you're going to get press regardless and everyone's expecting you to unveil something, okay, great, unveil something. But if you're a regular booth, like, I would go early. I would go now. I would go next week. Give people time to research it. Here's another example. This Ram Fox truck thing. They released it yesterday, 2 days ago. I know about it now. If they tell me it's going to be at one of these trade shows and I'm interested, I'm going to book time on my planner to go see this thing and have questions about it. If they unveil it there, there's a scrum of people, you can't really find anyone, you know, it's just harder to do. So that's my biggest takeaway for show prep if I'm exhibiting at the show. It's like, just release the idea that you need to release your product on show day. Just do it early and then get people interested and have a way to communicate with them. And then be there when they have to show up. So we've walked by a million booths that look very uninviting. People on their phones, people eating pizza in a little tight circle where you can't even get in, you know, so don't do that. Remember that it's a grind, it sucks, it's long, you're answering the same stupid questions over and over again, but the next person who comes up might be the person who's gonna spend on 1 or 10 or 100 or 1,000 of these things, and you have to invite people in. It's, like you said, it's not a very welcoming environment all the time, so.
Yeah, I think just a reminder, just all these shows have an app where you can have it on your phone and kind of, you know, put a star next to the booths that you want to go see. I really like the comments about taking care of your people. If you're a manufacturer, I know you aren't staffing these shows like you were 20 years ago. I just know you have less than half the staff on the carpet. They're going to get tired out. They're going to have problems with their feet. You know, they're going to get hungry. Like, you gotta take care of folks. It sounds like super basic, but we've seen people really suffer for, you know, not all the right reasons. So take care of your folks. I think most importantly, you touched on it, but for both sides, manufacturer and the attendee, what is a successful show for you before you go to this thing? So how many of these things do I need to sell for me to buy that spot on the carpet? For an attendee, how many connections do I have to make? How many deals do I have to make? How many leads do I have to get? Set a goal and, you know, work your butt off to get to it. So good luck if you're going to trade shows in fourth quarter. I know they're going to be critical for everybody involved, and we wish you the best.
And last thing, remember that people who aren't at the trade show want to see what your product is about and what you're doing, but they don't want to see a picture of your booth at 9 a.m. with a thing that says come by booth 28744, because if I'm there, I'm going to do that anyway. If I'm at my house 15 states away, I just want to know about the product now. So break your strategy up to like what I'm doing at the show and then how I'm amplifying that to everyone else in the world, and you know, showing the booth not a huge amount of value, showing me the why this new product is amazing and why you should have come to the show in the first place, much better. So that's my little rant on booth number posts on Instagram. I don't want to see them.
Okay, good luck in Q4. We're wishing everybody the best. If you need help, reach out to us. If you need help, reach out to each other, and let's grow the industry together. AI watch. We have consistently talked about where does artificial intelligence play in the automotive industry. I've got two. You mentioned this term work slop, which for me just means kind of this weird thing where AI is going to give you an answer if it's right or not. So I want you to touch on that a little bit. And then there is a new app out that everybody's going to have on their phone, probably already, but it's Sora, S-O-R-A. Go download it now. Justin, tell me about work slop and whatever the hell Sora is and why do I need it on my phone?
So AI work slop is becoming a problem for sure. And like I'm seeing many emails that are 4 times as many paragraphs as any email I've ever seen from anyone before, because people are just chat GPTing, like, how do I, and then it's just like words. It's just like, I am in meetings all the time now where people are just saying words, but they're not saying anything of any value. And that is what AI work slop looks like to me. It's just like pages of documents that I'm not going to read and I don't want to read. It's very lengthy emails that look like they're saying something important, but they're actually not saying anything at all. So I would challenge everybody to like get to the point. It's so easy with AI to come up with these like, oh yeah, I made a 50-page document about this SOP. It's like, what am I supposed to do? It's like, oh, you just click this button. Like, well, just write that, dude. I don't need the whole thing. So there's going to be a lot of that. I think people's email inboxes are just more and more full with just garbage time stuff that I don't need. Also, this is unrelated, but I get 700 emails a day that are clearly AI written emails from cold outbound email companies. Google, please figure this out and make it stop, because my inbox is becoming harder and harder to get through. So yeah, the work slop thing sucks. Stop doing it. And then that spills into the rest of the internet, which is also becoming AI slop for the most part. We talked about this a little bit. Probably 70% of my Facebook feed is just AI made images, AI headlines, AI written copy, and then AI commenters. The whole thing is just horrific. And now Sora, which is OpenAI's new video generation tool, is in, I call it waitlist beta or something like that. You can download the app, but you have to get a code to get in. So if you pay the premium thing, I think you can get it. If you're on a pro plan, you're waitlisted right now, which is good, because if everyone got this at the same time, it'd be even worse. But like, I'm seeing hundreds of reels a day from AI generated Gandhi, and
Are there more Bigfoot videos, Bigfoot car guy videos then? Is that what this is going to mean?
yeah. So there's, not only are there Bigfoot car guy videos, but now there's like Bigfoot and Dale Earnhardt driving a car together. Like, the quality level is crazy. But one of the things that OpenAI decided to do with Sora was like, oh, you can use anyone's likeness if they're not currently living. So that opened up just all of humanity essentially to being AI generated now. And yeah, it's pretty rough. So I don't know really how that ends, other than luckily, so far, Sora is putting a Sora watermark that kind of bounces around the video. So thank you, OpenAI, for that. And I'm sure they're leaving some sort of metadata tag in there too. But if you're just scrolling, or if you don't know, if you're not paying attention, I mean, you can get tricked by one of these things very easily. And then if you are paying attention, you quickly start to realize what they're calling the dead internet theory, which is essentially the theory that the entire internet is just going to be AIs talking to one another, and you might be the only person on it, and you would have no idea that everything else is fake and AI generated. And I used to think, that's pretty far-fetched. I can tell a person. Nah, absolutely not anymore, especially in comments, especially on Facebook posts. So yeah, that's going to get worse and worse and worse. And the only way to stand out is to go back to what we were talking about earlier and like really figure out how to make a unique brand where people were like, oh, that's definitely Jamie because I know Jamie, and not, oh yeah, that's weird that he said that. It's like, you should know where people stand by now. So work slop, terrible. I don't like it. AI, internet, dead theory, definitely becoming more true by the day, which is sad for me. But the memes are pretty good.
All right, we are grinding over here at the Automotive Advantage. Q4 coming straight at us. There's a lot of work to be done. We're here to help. Well, thanks for hanging out with us for an hour, folks. We appreciate you very much.
You were supposed to do the strong close. We wrote down strong close.
I said you do the strong close.
No, I have the false open. You have the strong close. I'll read it. Give us a like and a follow as we get this thing going. Our promise is that we will do all that we can to give you, I read that weird. Our promise is that we will do all that we can do to give you an unfair advantage in the automotive industry.
so strong. It was so strong.
This is why you were supposed to do it. Now you try it. You try it.
Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. That was the pod.
That's not the close. You're supposed to say like and subscribe. Do it. Say it.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. Just like and subscribe. Thank you.
That's the pod.